Hello, this is the Head, and we are interrupting this week's normal podcast for a special one about Scott Pilgrim.
It'll come back next week, we promise.
This is our first 3-part podcast.
So it's our 3 casts. Moving on.
Squid laughter. Anyways, this first segment will be about the Scott Pilgrim comic book. The next segment will be, of course, the video game. And the last segment being the movie. Which we have all seen at least once.
I want to see it again.
Alright.
Come on.
It's an awesome movie.
I know. Who doesn't want to see it again for $6?
Yeah, I would see it. I would see it again for 10. Shit.
I know.
Alright, so...
That's how awesome the movie. I will pay more to see it.
Yes, we can talk about that later. Comic book. Now then, for those of you who don't know what Scott Pilgrim is, Scott Pilgrim started off as a comic book about a boy who meets this girl of his dreams and decides to date her, but as a catch must defeat her 7 evil exes. Really? Nothing to comment on that?
I say...
7 X's, that's not that bad.
Yeah, compared to 11.
What did I say about movie things?
No, wasn't that in the actual comic?
No, it was in the movie.
Oh, no.
So we're not bringing references to our other 2 podcasts?
So what? Anyways.
Okay, fine.
So, what's the first rating? What are we rating on it first?
I guess first off would be overall story.
Overall story?
Yes.
Honestly, I thought the overall story was awesome. It's definitely original. I never heard of this. It's actually current to this time. You know, like how they started the league with Craigslist, right? And they sent them an email, and like there was
and a text.
And a letter, which was the archaic thing. They were all shocked. I'm like, I hadn't read that letter, and yada.
No, it's a letter he had delivered himself.
Yeah.
In a snowstorm.
Which is funny because it's illegal to just stuff mail into someone else's mailbox.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Unless it's got a postage stamp, which is weird because if you're gonna buy a postage stamp, why would you deliver it yourself?
Make a stamp yourself.
Yeah. I stamped this. Guess what's what?
I don't
know. With my foot.
Okay, so
the third one.
What's your rating?
What's your rating?
Should we go on a system of 1 to 10 or
should we?
1 to 5?
I say 1 to 10. Why not?
Sure.
All right. So I like the story, so let's give it a plus. I like the fact that I love the scene where Knives and Kim make out. Best scene ever. I'm in lesbians with this comic. Yes, I said lesbians. I don't care. Anyways, so I'm gonna give it an 8, only because I wanted to see more.
You just want to see more women making out, isn't it?
Yes, I want to see more women making out.
Kenshin?
Let's see. I'll give it a 9 because I won't say it needs improvement. It's overall badass, but a 9 because like in a way I would like to see a sort of like epilogue thing. What happens afterwards?
Oh, you want closure?
Yeah, because the whole how the comic ended to me personally, it didn't give me closure.
Well, it's a romance novel.
Yeah.
Romance novel.
I don't know whether to call this a romance novel or an action novel.
A little bit of both.
Action, romance.
Dude, it's action, comedy, romance, and supernatural.
Romantic action.
Okay,
it's romantic action in a supernatural setting.
Okay,
yes.
And Edward?
Well, let's see. Basically put, this whole comic book itself was influenced by the 8-bit genre. Which, of course, happens to be my favorite genre. Because of its terrible graphics and awesome music.
I love the glitches.
Glitches are awesome, too. Yeah, the characters were overall really good, too. And you could pretty much see growth within the... you could pretty much see growth within the storyline itself.
And the characters.
So,
and their personalities.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna give it... I want to give it a 10, but like Kenshin said, the ending was kind of eh. But I kind of like the ending because it just, lets your imagination go. So I'm gonna give it 9.5. Just because it lets you decide basically what happened. It's up to you to think about it.
I like to think they have more of it.
Which Kenshin doesn't normally think, so...
Well, I want to actually physically see closure.
Physically see? What?
Physically see.
Oh, okay. I misheard.
You always do.
Oh, stop misspeaking.
No.
Alright, so...
what's next? Artwork.
Artwork.
I thought the artwork needed some work.
Really?
Well, compared to its actual style of artwork, it was well done. I honestly admit that it's one of the greatest comics I've seen. But I've seen so many great artwork, I feel like it's kind of disappointing. I want to see more detail and stuff.
But can you really rate somebody's artwork based on somebody else's? Everybody's got their own style.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like he should put more into it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Yeah,
it's probably just you because you're giving like a high standard of detail.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of stuff. I'm gonna give it a 7, but I would like to see more. So yeah.
Kenshin?
Well, it's hard to tell because I'm not really an artist myself, but this comic had good artwork in a way, and also with the fight scenes and all. So I'd say I'll give it like I won't say a 10, but I think I'll give it another 9.
All right, 9 so far for Kenshin. Me personally, I really like the art style. It looked really cool and pretty different from certain other things. And I'm only saying that because there's a lot of people at my college who classify themselves as artists, and all their artwork looks the same because they copied it from anime. I personally like seeing original artwork, and like Kenshin said, the fight scenes were really well drawn.
Yeah, I love the 8-bit style attacks. No, seriously, the 8-bit games had awesome attacks. You know, it was simple, right? But it was like super powered. You know, like anyone could do this, right? But you know, you're awesome. Like you just punch.
I've got
like
something to say about that. I got something to say about that after my.
All right. So what's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 10.
You give it a 10?
Yeah, I like the artwork. It's you know, you can't really compare it to other artwork because it's like going on DeviantArt and finding everybody's pictures and then just going, oh well, that professional artist is way better than this art.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. It depends on the person, really.
But as I was going to say about the 8-bit thing that Jared was saying, there's actually a game called Cheetah Men, and the main characters in the game are super overpowered. I mean, one guy's invincible, the other guy can jump forever, and the other guy has a ranged attack. So basically put, the only reason you'd play this game is to just kill time. Alright, what was our next one? The overall rating of it?
No, fight scenes.
Fight scenes.
Fight scenes.
Jared?
I honestly like the fight scenes. There's a lot of action in this comic. I love that. Not only because there's less reading because of it. Alright, I'm the first to admit it. I don't like to read for personal problems and history. I have it. I'm not gonna get into it. Whatever. Anyways, I love the fight scenes. They have like original attacks. They had backstories to why they had these types of attacks. It was good, so I'm gonna give it a 10 on the fight scenes.
Alright, Kenshin?
Another 10 too. Because on some of the fight scenes though, and some of the fighting style, like the first one, he was after the first boyfriend attacked him, he was up there and the dude 6-4 hit combo, and Kim Honor was like, well, that guy's toast. Because then she said, I quote, Scott's the best fighter in their region. And later on, though, apparently though Wallace taught Scott all his moves. Because at some points he said to Wallace, well, you're a really bad teacher. So yeah.
Alright.
It explains why he kept saying, fight!
That was in the movie.
Yeah, I know, but still.
My rating, I'm gonna give it a 10. Because of just purely based on the fact that they didn't explain most of the time where he learned to fight, but he was like this really badass fighter like all the time, doing these impossible things that nobody questioned.
Yeah, but apparently though,
knocking Matthew Patel in the air and 65 hit comboing him.
Well, that's part of the comic, the storyline. You know, it's like these weird things happen, but they go through it like if it was casual. You know, like it happens every day.
Sort of like a Fooly Cooly type of
but
which it also draws from anime.
Yeah, well, it's like I said though, like apparently the Wallace taught Scott how to fight and all of his moves.
All right. Let's close up here and we'll take a break. And when we return, we'll talk about Scott Pilgrim, the video game.
Alright then.
Thanks.